Well, here's a video I'm really pumped about. Hi everyone, it's a 4-gun guy. And this is one of those things that I thought maybe I'd never own, but I just thought it might be kind of cool to have one. Well, luckily my friends at OneLeaf saw some of my videos and they decided to send me one of their products. This is their Commander NV100 system, and this includes both the scope and the night vision module. Now, what I thought we would do today is let's talk about the differences between night vision and thermal optics, because there is a difference, as I found out through my research. Then I'm going to go through a brief unboxing, just kind of lay things out as you've seen me do before, kind of show you what comes in the box, some of the features that it looks like are going to be really nice and cool with this product. And then I want to talk about the specifics on both the scope and the night vision module. And then I thought we'd get some night vision sighting through the module and the scope. And then we'll have some final thoughts. So if you're all ready to go, let's get to it. Well, let's briefly talk about the difference between thermal imaging and night vision. Now I'm going to put a graphic up here so you'll kind of see the difference. Thermal imaging is the ability for the module or the system to detect heat. So it detects your body temperature as it's against a cool night background or something like that. Whereas night vision is really the ability to use what light is available to increase the visibility of items out in the field. And sometimes you'll use like an infrared beam like this one uses and others use to enhance the distance so you can get further out there so the module can actually, quote, see further out. So that's really the big difference. And there's some really good there's really some really good articles out there around the differences and recognition and identification and so forth. Now, this article says night vision will always be superior in recognition and identification, whereas thermal is superior in detection. I'll let you do your own research to see, which one of these might be best for what you want to use it for. And as I said before, I've looked into these, and from what I understand, thermal imaging thermal scopes are much more expensive than some of these night vision scopes. Now, I do believe you can find some of these night vision scopes that are pretty expensive as well. So why don't we now move on to kind of dissecting the Commander NV100, see what comes in the box, and then we'll look at each component separately, the scope and the night vision module. All right, well, let's talk about what we get in the box here. So again, we get a nice instruction booklet that you see right here. We get the actual, we get the night vision module, we get the scope itself. It has really some nice flip-up lens caps on that scope. We get a lens cloth, three different tools. We get an extra hex screw in there. We get 2 extra O-rings, which I thought was kind of cool. We get a roll of tape. Now this is used in case you need to expand your scope to fit the sleeve that you can use. So we get an adapter sleeve that's going to adapt this unit to another scope. We get a USB cable, and then we get 2 of these they're really for your eye relief. So you can replace this eyepiece that you have here on the night vision module with these 2, and they just give you better eye relief so you can get your eye right up against there. Now, another thing this comes with is it comes with its own rechargeable lithium battery. It comes with, I thought was kind of cool, it comes with this cap for the infrared so you can protect that. So it came with that. Comes with a battery on the scope. And what else? Oh, and it comes with scope rings. So this is a 30 millimeter tube with a 56 millimeter objective. and it comes with the scope rings. So with all that said, let's move on to the individual pieces, and let's start off with the scope. Okay, well, I'll put the specs up here on the screen, but basically, you know what, guys, this is a pretty nice little scope. You know, is it a Zico? No, but it's still a nice scope. And let's preface this all with one thing. As I'm reviewing this, I would be using this for, say, hog hunting at night. That's what I would use this setup for. I think it would be perfect for that, right? If you're wanting to go out to 600 yards or 800 yards at night for some reason, then this would not be the setup for you, because my understanding is that the night vision range on this is probably 3 to 320 is going to be about the maximum you're going to get useful night vision capabilities out of with this scope. So with that out of the way, I think this would be a pretty cool option. Now, magnification 3 to 12. So again, this would be more for close-in work, right? If you're doing hogs or something like that. It does have 11 illumination settings on the reticle. So it's got illuminated reticle. Parallax is side parallax. And you know what, guys? I'm going to tell you, I own 2 Zicos, 2 zero compromise scopes. And of course, you know, they're the Cadillac. But I'm just here to tell you, the movement on these rings is just fine, right? Now, the elevation and windage turrets are capped, so they're protected. And you do need to realize that this is an MOA scope. So as you're looking at this, 1 click is 1/8 of an MOA. So you need to start thinking in terms of MOA if you're going to use this seriously. I'm a mil guy, milliradian, so that might take me a little bit to figure out. Now, I'm going to go back to the use of, if we were hunting hogs with this, we'd probably be hunting hogs from, I'm going to say 50 yards out to probably a long shot of 200 yards. So if I've zeroed this on my AR at the 50 and 200 zero, which is what I do for my AR, because if you zero it at 50, because of that cartridge, you're going to be also zeroed at 200. And then everything in between, you're going to use the reticle and the scope, and you should start to be very comfortable with, hey, I'm 100 yards out, I've got to come up. In other words, I wouldn't even use the clicks, right? I would not sit there and manually adjust my elevation every time I'm going to try to shoot at a pig, right? You're going to get very comfortable with, on the reticle, it's two markings up in elevation, right? Just like you would if you were going to hold your elevation in a PRS match or something like that. Same thing with the windage, right? You're not going to be dealing with a lot of windage out there. If there is some wind, you're going to take that into consideration. And finally, guys, you know the size of a pig, right? It's not a 10-inch plate that we're shooting in a PRS match at 500 yards or 1,000 yards sometimes. It's a pig, so you have plenty of leeway to take your shot. Plus, you're not going to be shooting a bolt-action rifle. You're going to be shooting an AR, and with a 30-round magazine in there, yeah, you can afford to miss once or twice on the hog. So with all that said, I'm just trying to set the stage here for, you know, if some of you are looking at this going, well, yeah, but it doesn't do this and the elevation is it. Don't worry about that. That's not what you're going to be using this for. So with all that said, again, we've got the focus, parallax, illuminated reticle, cap turrets, the scope rings. It is, as I said, a 56 millimeter objective. And I've taken it outside, right, when I first got it. And I've got to tell you, the glass on this thing's pretty darn good. The elevation adjustments in MOA are 70 and the windage adjustments are 70. The parallax starts at 100, but again, you're not going to be worried about that if you're going to be if you're going to be like hunting hogs. I will also tell you that this is a second focal plane scope, so it's not a first focal plane. Some of you guys, again, who shoot PRS or 22 matches, and you've got the milliradian scopes like I do, they're generally first focal plane scopes. So you may have to get used to that a little bit and start to figure out what that's going to be all about. The weight is fairly heavy. It's not too heavy. It's what, 802 grams, which whatever that means in pounds, but I'm going to say this thing's probably 2 pounds. So there's the scope. Let's go ahead and move on to the night vision module. This is really well built, in my opinion. Good craftsmanship, and everything just seems to float. It's very smooth in operation. The focus ring, everything. Now let's just kind of start with what we're looking at here. This is the module that fits onto the scope itself. Now what's really cool about this is if you get this combo, you don't need to use this adapter. And here's something, guys, that's very important. If you've messed around with trying to take photographs through your scope, you'll know that this is the biggest pain in the butt part of it, right? Trying to get whatever camera you're going to use to sync up with the scope. Well, what OneLeaf has done is they've said, well, let's make that simple by just allowing this to snap right in. Now that's snapped in. That's on there. That's not going anywhere, and it's there. And if I need to take it off to just use the scope, there's a little button here that I push, and off it comes. So that, to me, is a really awesome feature if you're going to use their scope. Now, with that said, as I said, all the controls seem very tactile, very smooth. We have the controls on the back here, which I'm going to tell you why I like this. A lot of times the controls are on the side, and what are you doing? Well, I'm behind it. Then I have to come around to see what I'm touching. Then I have to get back behind it. And at least here, all I have to do is back off, make my selection, and then I'm right back on the scope. So I like the fact that they put the controls on the back here. They've got a waterproof door here with a rubber seal on it, and that contains a headphone jack. It's got the 32 gigabit card that comes with this. So I forgot to tell you that they actually include a 32 gigabit SD card with it. And then it's got the adapter here, the cable adapter, so you can plug this right into your PC, transfer files without having to take the card out or whatever. So that's that. This is the battery compartment right here. It's got an O-ring on it. You can feel it when you unscrew that. And this is a rechargeable battery. So you don't have to be packing around 20 different batteries because they burn out after every use. And then the other thing I like, and I think I talked about this before, is the infrared light here is adaptable. As I move out in distance, I just pull this out, and my understanding is it tightens the beam, and this is what gives us our 328 yards, according to OneLeaf, 328 yards of distance of night vision capability. So that's kind of cool. And again, I told you about the cap that fits on there, and it's got a little O-ring on it as well. Now let's talk about some of the other capabilities here. This has a magnification of 4:24 with a digital zoom of 1:3. 30 feet per second is the recording of it. You can take pictures, so you can take stills with this. Here's another thing I like about this, guys. This is a night vision module, but only when you want it to be. So if you can adapt this to the scope you have, or you buy this whole setup, you can use this to record during the daytime. So this is not a night vision only option. This thing can record, take pictures without the night vision system being engaged. And I think that's kind of a really, really nice feature here of this. Battery life is about 6 hours, they say. And the other thing that I noticed when I was doing my research on this, and that I really found kind of cool was the fact that the optical sensor they have in this is a Sony Starvis sensor. And with my research, what I found was that's a pretty nice sensor to be putting in these a night vision system. It's kind of a standard that goes in a lot of these better systems. The resolution, 1920 by 1080. We can, as I said, take pictures, take video. The eye relief on this says 25 millimeters to 70 millimeters. And let's see, from a control standpoint and an operational standpoint, I'm not going to go into all those little details of how you turn it on and how you do this and how you do that. Look, there's a really good instruction manual. It is a really good little manual that comes with this thing. So if you do decide to get one of these, I'll let you peruse that, and you're going to have to figure it out on your own anyway. All right, well, here we are outside, and this is at 3 power. This is just regular daylight mode. I do not have the infrared on because it's daylight, but I just wanted to see, you know, initially what this what the glass looked like. Now remember, this is with the NV module installed. So what you're seeing here is the image from the scope as it's coming through the night vision module. Now this telephone pole is about 100 yards out. Let's look down the line here. Let's just kind of start coming down the line. That's my neighbor's crepe myrtle, which is about 50 yards away. Let's keep coming down here. I just want to get an idea of what we're looking at here. That telephone pole is 200 yards. That one right there is 250. And so let's go ahead and do a... So that zoomed all the way in on that one. Let's zoom all the way out again. And let's see, and I think I've got this on black and white. No, it's color. There's my neighbor's sprinkler. And you can see that for even further down there, that telephone pole, I believe, I want to say, is 300 yards. And then there's other stuff way down there, like those poles down here. That pole is, I believe, 500. That's a 500-yard pole. Let me zoom all the way in here. Yeah, 500 yards, that's not bad at all, honestly. And as I said before, guys, I wouldn't be taking this out probably past the 300-yard mark if I was doing like a hog hunt or something like that. Hey, really quickly, I did want to show you that you've got a black and white option here too. So I was in color before, and now this is the black and white option. This is still during daylight, so it's bright daylight. Well, there's cloud cover, but this is bright daylight without the infrared sensor on. But this goes to show you that yes, if I wanted to, I can record during the day. You know, if I'm on a hog hunt during the day or whatever, and I wanted to record it, I could certainly use this to do that. So let's look at night vision tonight, and we'll see how this all stacks up. All right, well look, here's the telephone pole. This is with just the night vision scope. And it's pretty dark outside. I wouldn't say it's pitch dark, but this is probably about the lighting that you'd have if you were, say, hunting hogs. Now, the telephone pole is, I believe that pole is 80 yards away. And you can see, you know, the foliage behind it. You can see the pole. You can actually make out the knots in the wood, the grain in the wood of the pole. And yeah, I mean, this is nice. And I'm trying to keep things steady, so I'm not really touching this. This is with the just regular settings. And now I want to come up here, and I want to start just coming up the pole. And let's get up to the top here. See what kind of detail we might be able to make out. So then there's the pole. There's the top of the pole. Now, I got to tell you, it's dark. It's dark out. And the background sky looks like it's almost daylight. This thing is really, really bringing out the image here. And if you look at this pole, I'm not going to touch this thing, but I can make out the insulators. I can make out the layers on the insulators. And now I'm going to switch to infrared. So I'm going to turn on the infrared light. Let's see what this does. Okay. It illuminates it a bit more. You can really see the wind moving the trees, the branches behind it. Now those trees are probably 90 to 100 yards. Let me turn this off. Okay, so that was at that distance. Let's go out to a different distance now. Okay, this telephone pole is about 110 yards away. I'm going to come down here. So let's come up a little more. That's the foliage behind that. I'm going to turn on infrared. The IR light. That brightens things up a little bit. Turn that off. And now let's go up to this pole. And I'm trying to be focused. I'm still getting used to this thing, guys, so I may not have this in the best focus there, but I'm trying. There you go. Now, that's with the illuminated reticle and a pretty good focus. Again, I can see the layers on the insulators. That's really nice. And that is about 110 yards away. I'm fairly zoomed in. Now I'm going to zoom out. So there I'm zoomed out. That looks good. Let's see if I can get a little further down range. Okay. That telephone pole is, I want to say, I can't remember, I want to say 275 to 300. And it's not light out, guys. It's dark. So this is really illuminating the sky. In the lower left corner there, you can see the top of my neighbor's crepe myrtles waving about there. But I really like what this thing is looking like. Now let me come down a little bit and let's try to get some. And then I'm going to, I'm starting to pick up. Now, here's an interesting thing. I want you to look right here. This is the telephone pole in my other neighbor's yard, which is probably maybe 100 yards away. Now, I'm gonna try to get this thing still, and this looks like it's bright daylight. Guys, there's no light. He has one little light, I think, in the back of his house. But this is total illumination. This is pretty awesome. I know I sound like a little kid, but I'm kind of excited about this thing. I will tell you now, I'm not going to be able to get up to the range. And the reason is it just gets dark so late, and the ranges are like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me, and I just can't get up there and get back in time. So with that all said, look, I'm gonna go back. Let's go ahead and go back to the shop for final thoughts. Well, final thoughts, man. As I told you in the beginning of this video, I've been wanting to get my hands on something like this, but I just haven't done it. I've had to, spend my money on some other things. And I want to really thank my friends at OneLeaf for sending me this Commander NV100 setup. I think we saw that from a total package perspective, this is really, really a good value, in my opinion. From the research I did on all the night vision options out there, the scope options out there. Remember how easily this night vision module just snapped right onto the scope. So I didn't have to mess around with tools or anything like that to get it to fit on there. The scope itself, the glass was really good. Again, for this price range, I thought that was really good glass. The night vision module, daytime, awesome, which means we don't need to just use this for night. We can use it during the day. If we're on a hunt during the day, hog hunt during the day, I can still snap this on there, take some really nice video of that hunt, and then if we're going to go back at night, plug it in, let it charge up. We get about, 6 hours, I think, from the battery, but plug it in, charge it up, then we go out at night and use it at night. I thought the clarity at night was pretty good. Again, haven't had much experience with these, but I was able to differentiate the bushes, the dark spots. And remember when we went to the telephone poles, even out to the 225, 250 mark, we were able to differentiate the layers on those insulators on the telephone poles with the night vision. And I think that's pretty impressive there. So I think overall value, excellent. The controls on the back, I told you, I actually love these because I'm right down on it and I don't even have to come off it and look at these controls. I'm naturally drawn to them. And the other thing I liked about that is it didn't wobble the scope, right? On the side, I think you're getting some side wobble. Up here, it didn't wobble it. So I think I think they have a good setup here. So I want to thank them again. You have a good product. I would promote this all day long. Well, hey, thanks for hanging in there on this one. I've got some other stuff coming up. You'll see it scroll across the bottom of the screen. One thing you're not going to see on the bottom of the screen, though, is my wife surprised me for my birthday, and she bought me a replacement set of binoculars that are going to replace the Bushnell Forge binoculars that I absolutely love and have been using in competition for the last, year or so. Love those binoculars, but she went pretty far above and beyond Bushnell Forges. So when I get these new binoculars in, I'm not going to tell you what they are yet, but when I get them in, I'll do a review on those, and I think you'll be happy with that review. I'm so excited to get these. I feel like a kid waiting for a birthday present to come in the mail. But hey, I also wanted to mention one other thing. A gentleman the other day at one of our matches came up to me and said, "Hey, I saw your latest video." It was my position video, I think, pipes and rooftop. And he said, "Do you do any more videos?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've got like 110 videos out there now." And he didn't know it. And I was kind of surprised that he wouldn't know that I have more videos. So do me a favor. If you have some friends that would be interested in this stuff, please tell them. If you ring the bell down here in the corner somewhere, you'll get notified when new videos come out. I'm really trying to put one out every 1 week or 2 at the very most. And I'd appreciate that. And then all the subscriptions, man, I really appreciate it when you guys are subscribing. Really makes me feel good that we're putting together a really good community here of like-minded people. So thanks again for all that. And until next time, shoot straight.